Hi guys, welcome back to the Acoustic Shoppe YouTube channel. I am Jeremy, I play the mandolin. This is John, he also plays the mandolin somewhat.
No, I do not.
Today we're going to talk about the 500 series, the MD500 series from Eastman. That would be the F style. It comes in 3 different options with another couple different finish options I guess on there. But we're going to tell you all about those differences today in this video.
So Jeremy, we're actually going to be talking about the 515, not just the 500 series, the 515.
Yes, so this is the F-style version of the same options are available in an A-style, which would be the 505s, but the 500 series, the 515s in particular, we're going to talk about 3 different major options and then also some finish choices you can get there. But basically, they're going to be the same instrument as far as the wood selection, a maple back and sides with a Sitka spruce top on these.
Yep.
They bind the top, except for on the one you've got in your hand. It'll be a bound top, a bound fretboard, the upgraded tuners from the 300 series, and the cast tailpiece as usual, but also a hard shell case that is going to be more of a fitted, almost like a guitar case for a mandolin. So
sure.
Big upgrades, I think, from the 300 series, which is just the one 3 and 400 below this. But the main difference is this comes in 3 different major options. The first one in your hands is what they call the Comfort Contour, the 515cc.
So this is actually a step up. This is the 515 standard back here. We'll talk about that, but this is quite a little bit of a step up from there in some ways. There's actually some things it backs away from a little bit. The Comfort Contour, or CC, stands for Comfort Contour because it is a beveled edge. This is an eased edge with no binding, so it has a kind of unique look. It's very reminiscent, if those of you who have followed mandolins for a long time know of the Weber mandolins, the Bitterroot and the Gallatin.
The Gallatin was the one that had that curved, and I think that's the first time I saw it on a mandolin. Really kind of liked it. It just, rather than have to do the extra work of routing this and binding it, they actually just took the wood that is the top and back, brought them all the way up to the edges, and then just kind of
curved it off. It is comfortable, and for those of you that don't know, binding, it does not really serve a major purpose. It does kind of give it a little bit of extra protection against bumps and bruises to keep cracks from starting, but as far as it's mostly about appearance, it doesn't actually have a major effect on the mandolin itself. It's just an extra
If you could detect
appointment.
a tonal change there, then you are a very impressive person.
It's not there. So that's part of why this works so well, is it's not really affecting the mandolin very much, except for its look and it's the ease of being able to use it that way. There is another difference on the CC, which is it's actually a 515 CC/N. The N originally was put for a vintage nitro finish. Since then, nitrocellulose lacquer has actually been discontinued by a lot of manufacturers. There are still a few of them that are still using it, but it is a very, very harmful chemical to be
especially in large batches. If you're doing one-offs and stuff, then it's probably manageable. But when you're doing large manufacturing, that's why just about all the large manufacturers have moved away from it, because it is easier to use some of these other options.
And there are becoming a whole lot more options in poly/water-based lacquers that are coming closer to the tone and sound of actual nitrocellulose. I'm still not convinced that it's absolutely the same, because it's a little bit, there's a lot more kind of living and growth that gets done with nitrocellulose. I digress. More than anything, it's about this look, that vintage nitro look, which is a thinner based lacquer finish that almost has a little bit of a satiny sheen to it, but still has a gloss. It's a thicker finish than what the satin finishes do. So it does have the protection, does have a softer finish like an old lacquer finish that had been done.
And I think a good analogy is kind of like the different levels of paint in your house. You got the very like eggshell, which is very satiny. Then you have that semi-gloss, which has a little bit of that to it. And then you got like the full gloss here, which is really going to almost be enamel looking with the reflectiveness of it. So that's kind of that in between there. It's not quite as dull as the satin, but not as shiny and glossy as the standard gloss. Mm-hmm. So that's a cool addition to it. A lot of people just love that look of the natural wood, a little bit stained, and then having that bevel to it, I think is very comfortable. Then they had the standard one that came out long before that, is the 515. It comes in this classic sunburst and then also a classic color.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a real gloss finish. They did do the full fretboard binding as well at the top, unlike the Comfort Contour where they have no binding at all. So if you are a fan of more of that traditional look, this does have the bound top. bound fretboard, and a really good option in that next step up. A very nice maple back and sides, Sitka spruce top again. But that's more the traditional look of, I think, the mandolin people are used to seeing. And then Eastman went through a few years where they tried a few different ways of doing varnish. And Eastman, in case you guys aren't familiar, started out as a very, very successful violin shop, and still are. They're probably the #1 manufacturer of stringed instruments, basses, violins, cellos, violas. They just do all the stringed instruments. And in the violin world, it's pretty uncommon, except for in very entry-level ones, to have a high-gloss new instrument.
Perfect finish.
Like violin players want it to look like an old-world instrument.
Trying to rebuild the old classic instruments that are still around today. Some of them, the Stradivarius, the Guarneriuses, they actually pattern some of the wear and stuff off of those. So there's a skill in learning how to do that, and that's what they actually do here. This is a hand-rubbed
eventually,
varnish.
Eastman got to the point where saying, why are we trying to do this really fancy-looking varnish on our guitars and mandolins when we have this violin shop that has perfected the art of making it look like an older instrument in the varnish. So this is, like I said, or like you said, a very specific skill to make this look naturally worn in a varnish finish.
Every single one of them is unique. There is always a difference in every single varnish instrument that Eastman does. So you will see wear patterns in different places. Some of the case rash, some of the
armrest,
scratches,
and
arm wear, all that kind of good stuff.
Belt buckle. Yeah, it's got and we've had this probably our most debated thing that some people absolutely hate. Why would I buy a brand new instrument that looks like somebody else beat it up and played it? Other people just love that it looks like an old world instrument, and they feel more comfortable holding it. They're not worried about getting those first few scratches in it. They're not worried about appearance. You guys can debate that till the cows come home. If you like a shiny finish, buy a shiny finish. Don't judge other people, I think, for enjoying something that looks a little bit more aged.
And I will also point out one other major difference is the 515 varnish does tend to have a little bit bulkier neck shape. It is the only one of the 500 series that does that.
A little bit almost more that speed neck too as well
yes,
on it.
It is also the newest of the varnish stuff that Eastman came out with. They had done varnish in the 815, which is what you have, and then as they kind of redid the deals, they realized since the 500 series is the most popular line, apart from the 300 series because of its price point, in their pro levels, the 500 series is very, very popular. They wanted to give people that option to get a varnish sound. Varnish is a much softer finish. It does not take as much abuse as either one of these two finishes. It is easy to kind of get marks and mars in. It's still more protective than the satin finish that you see in the 300 series. But being that it is a softer finish, it does let the wood breathe more. It becomes a more open sounding finish. And that's why violins still use it. A lot of the upper end mandolins around the world.
We were impressed with the difference on some of the guitars that Eastman started doing when they brought out that varnish finish. You can just, and it's a feel thing too. You just feel the wood. It doesn't feel as constricted as a full gloss for sure.
As of this filming, there is a slight difference to the tuners too. This does have the Schaller style tuners from Goto, which is a little bit heavier press versus these two, which will have those Gotos with the Grover style tuners with the ivory buttons. That said, you do have a lot more maintenance and much more careful with a varnish finish. If you leave it in a hot car with your case, you will see fibers from that case start to kind of go in there. So be aware of that. It is a more protective finish than some, but definitely a little more volatile.
And more when you're caring for it too. You're not going to be polishing it as much as you would like a shiny gloss finish. You're just going to be kind of cleaning it. You're going to use like a cleaner that is meant for varnish finishes that basically is just cleaning fingerprints off. You're not really looking for a big shine on it.
But that said, nothing sounds like the varnish mandolins do.
And the cool thing, again, they did with the Eastman, which they've done with a lot of other ones when they antique it, they kind of antique the metal parts on it as well to give it a little bit more of a aged look to it. So that's what you're going to get in the varnish version of the 500 series, the 515. That's basically the lineup of the 500 series. 3 really good options. And then if you want to change finish color options on that one as well, then I guess you got 4 different options there.
Things that I want to cover real quick that we've talked about in all of our other Eastman mandolin videos that I want to make sure that you all understand. Eastman does this with every one of their mandolins. It has a radius fretboard. It has bigger fret wire. It always comes with a bone nut. And it does...
hand-carved, tuned top and back when they
truly
are
hand-carved instrument and hand-built, and always comes with a lifetime warranty. So those are things that, you know, to keep in mind with all of the Eastman mandolins, whether it's the 500 series or any of the others, those all stay consistent all the way through all the lines.
And also throughout this batch, you're going to be getting that hard shell case. The I think it's a
In the 500
three-ply
series.
three-ply case with the more shape to the mandolin, almost like a guitar case, but shaped to a mandolin. So pretty good upgrade from the 300 and 400 series, and I think it's three really good options. That's, like I said, being one of the more popular levels, they decided to give a few different options in that same wood selection level as far as the 100 number that it is. So also available in an A style and all these different configurations as well. Let us know what you guys think of the differences, what you prefer, your thoughts on antiquing an instrument. If you're for it, against it, or think everyone is stupid for either one of those opinions, please share that below. Everyone likes to read that. But I'm sure the thing you want to hear is, can you tell a difference in the tone between these? And we're going to find out for ourselves right now. All right, John, that kind of covers the 500 series for 515 series for Eastman mandolins.
Thanks for clarifying,
Yeah,
Jeremy.
I just want to make sure everybody's clear.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely tonal differences between the different finish options. It's kind of going to be, you're going to select things you like the look of, things you like the sound of, the feel of, but all really good options in this one level that comes from Eastman. If you guys enjoyed that and you're curious about the other offerings that Eastman has, we did the full lineup from the 315 series all the way up to the 815, told all the different specs involved, and then played all the mandolins interspersed with each other, so you can get an idea of the different level and offerings that come from Eastman mandolins. Check that out. There's going to be a link right here for that. And I can't wait to hear what you guys think of this. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.